Hello, my name is AxisofDestruction, and welcome to probably the first video I've done in a very long time. So actually, let me do something real quick because the music's going to annoy me. Alright, so welcome to a series I've been planning on doing for a good while. So before I go into actually showing you the world we're going to be going into, let me just explain what this series is going to be about. So the basic idea is or in this case, I am the architect of an entire empire, and my explicit goal is to build the entire empire and expand its boundaries, so on and so forth. And I have projects I have to complete, and so on and so forth. So right now, I'm actually working on building a beachside town further off, and we'll get to that one in a little bit in the next episode. But today's going to be basically showing you guys what this world has to offer, and I'm not really feeling like walking to everywhere, so I might fly us all the way there, but you never know. I might actually just talk about things while I'm walking. We'll just have to see. So, so what's the series called? It's called The Architect, and as I said before, it's about you being an architect expanding the reaches of an empire. And you have a few goals to keep in mind. You have to appease the empire by continuously doing your projects, and you have to make sure they are actually good. So at the end of the project, you're basically rated and all that, and the ratings are going to be done by you, the audience. So you guys are kind of like the emperor, and you kind of get to dictate what the architects actually do in the world to an extent. Like, we can't go outside of the period, so it's kind of a medieval-based world with some degree of magic and what have you, but basically we're focused heavily on expanding the empire, and there's a few rules and such, but we'll get into that as we get started. So let's just head on down the Imperial Road, which is the first area you'll see in the entire empire. So some of the rules in place is that deaths do not count really, but if you lose a complete village, you basically are punished by the chat, or rather the comments, slash the emperor. And so basically what you have to do is you have to basically suffer a punishment if your villagers are all wiped out in a mob attack. See, I have to set it on hard mode, and I have to survive while building the actual towns and stuff. So, that means is I have to make sure my townsfolk don't die, and I can't kill them either because that's against the rules. And as you see, we're approaching the Imperial City, which is the first city I actually made in this series. And I had a lot of fun making it, but there's some other places we have to see before we can really, get to our main episode. So, let's take a look to check out the scenery here. So some of the rules regarding the world is I'm not allowed to go. So let me just show you the kind of area we're at. See, any kind of mountainous terrain is fair game. Like, you're supposed to build like we're supposed to build like mountain fortresses and coastal cities, but we aren't supposed to take the mainland because that's where the monsters live, and we have a ancient treaty to leave the monsters be as long as they leave us be, which will not last very long by my calculations because they are very persistent in attacking our expansions. But basically we'll be focusing around the mountains and the coastal regions, but we can expand into some other things if it is allowed within the ancient treaty. But yeah, that's the basic gist. Let's see, is there anything else? I do plan for this to be like a multiplayer thing so that people can come in and have some fun with me. Probably like some close friends and stuff, not like complete strangers. Stuff like that would just be really cool, but I would have to set up a server, and I'm not very good with that kind of stuff, so we'll have to see where this whole idea goes. But for now, let's just take a nice tour of the world, and I'll let the world speak for itself. as for what I'm going to be doing. We'll also take a look at the not so glamorous sections of the world and go over things that still have to be done. So let's go into the capital right now. So basically, all of the cities have their own populations, and it's kind of important that they don't die. So I have to keep them locked in these walls. You're never truly safe until you actually build your city walls, and that's a thing I want to keep emphasized on. So what this basically is, it kind of serves as a archery spot, and it's actually quite useful. And depending on where you sit, it has different ranges. This is going to be like for underground dungeons later on, but right now I'm focused on expanding the actual empire. As you can see, I'm trying to be very functional with a lot of things. So if we go up here, you'll find yourself on the top of the city wall. And I try to be creative with some of my designs, if at all possible. And here's like the quote barracks of the city. It's not exactly super awesome. It's a nice little tiny place for the guards to improve their weapons and so on and so forth. If we go up here, we can get access to one of these sentry towers. It's not a very good sentry tower, it's a really crappy sentry tower actually. But yeah, you can actually basically get onto walls from here and kind of do some exploring. And over there is the next city, Portland, namely, is its name. Okay, so you'll notice that there's like a fence here. I couldn't be bothered to link the two walls together. That's one of the many things in progress. Linking everything together. Even the Imperial City is not actually finished. I have a lot of work to do. But yeah, this is kind of like a mountain outpost, and it's a really nice, secure place, despite how shambled it looks. It's one of the many fortifications the city has. It's the Imperial City, so it has to have like a ridiculous defense. And as you may have noticed, the walls are actually quite thick, so you're not going to bust through these walls anytime soon. There's only like one place you could actually slip in. And if we go up here, it's kind of just the ceiling. But if we go up here, if we go out here, you can basically walk around on top of the building, for the most part. Oh, and there's actually a way to get in here, actually. So let's go through here. But yeah, this city's kind of a little bit intricate with its city wall design. You can kind of get around anywhere you wish. So actually, let's stop fooling around and actually go into the actual city. So, as you can see, we have citizens and a tiny little garden of sorts. That's kind of like the city, the Empire's temple. It's in progress, as is the actual Imperial Palace. So this is what the palace entrance looks like. See, it's not finished. But I worked kind of hard on this main entrance, so that's kind of the palace, and it has its own guards. And we got a bunch of civilians here. And you'll notice the Empire's capital is kind of small. It kind of has a population density issue, as you'll notice. Like, there are villagers absolutely everywhere in this city. And I made a mistake. Come on, let me through. What are you? You're a slab. I don't want to break a slab. Let's find our own way out. Okay, we got our own way out. Alright, so note to self, don't go in the buildings. So yeah, there's a couple of nice little buildings I built, but they're all kind of, well, small. This is one of the major towers. It's one of the first ones I built. It's not my best work. But yeah, this is kind of just a small imperial capital. Oh, and here's my house. It's puny. Look how puny it is. Look at my puny little house. I need to make myself like a capital. Oh, and here is my guard, because you know people don't like me. Anyway, here's part of the temple. It's, again, not complete. It's kind of a work in progress. I have a lot of projects to shuffle through as the royal architect. And here's the other part of the temple, and again, not complete. I kind of try to make these things self-reliant, so they tend to have all kinds of random stuff going on. Like farms, so on and so forth, but you'll really see that idea come through in the next city, which we're gonna run over to. And this one took me a long time to build. Not the road, it didn't take me very long at all. I actually made it today. But as you'll see, this town is actually quite big. And to get my point across, we are going to fly upwards so you can get a grasp of how giant the city is. It's like, how many buildings are there? Like, this is one heck of a city project. And as you can see, it's freaking massive. And again, it is functional. It has its own farms, it has its own secure walls, and you can actually get on top of the walls and use them for defense. But people can't get up on the walls because, you know, they could basically escape the city, and that's not what I want. The awesome thing about this place and it basically lets me travel really freaking far, fast with my speed boost. But yeah, this is kind of an example of how big the walls are. It's one thing to see them when you're flying around, but it's another to actually walk the wall. Oh, I don't think I actually got rid of this. This is actually a problem. I need to get rid of that. And you can kind of see the foundations of the walls. Whoa, I didn't even see this here. What's this? Oh, it's kind of a little cave-like structure that I dug over. There's another one. But yeah, this is actually the oldest section of the city, and that was me experimenting with zombie villagers. Anyway, this is kind of the main base of operations. Well, this isn't actually the base of operations. And as you can see, we kind of have a nice city map. That's actually town center. My bad. This is Stone Tower, which is my base of operations when I'm working here. As you can see, I decked it out with some nice stuff. And we got our typical fare of statues and whatnot. It's actually, you have seen its fair share of fighting. Then we got some random buildings scattered throughout. But this one and that one are my main projects I've worked on that are really nice. And again, we have the city wall over there. The city walls take forever to build, though. Here is a interesting building. It is none other than, you guessed it, the stable. And it's kind of messy. I prefer not to look at it. Anyway, this is one of the lighthouses, one of three. If you go in here, you'll see what it looks like. We can actually go up this one, which is something I don't think the other ones actually have the privilege of. And this one's actually a really nice building. I might make this my personal home in the city. I actually forgot that one had a nice interior, so we're going to actually go over here and see the other lighthouse. And this is where all the people like to hang out for whatever reason. It's actually kind of a nice place, though, actually. I guess you could call it the one of the town centers. Something that infuriates me is the citizens keep moving around, and this is the less glamorous of the three lighthouses. This is actually one of my favorite buildings. It's kind of a nice one. Let's see. I've built a number of different styled buildings throughout the city, but those buildings I pointed out are probably my favorites. Let's see. This one's very plain, very boring. But yeah, as you'll see, each one differs from the other slightly. And there's a crap ton of people here, so you'll have no shortage of things to do. Right here is the massive dock district. If we go down here, you'll find yourself plenty of exploration stuff to do. Like seriously, this winds in every which way, so if you're looking for caves, this is definitely a place to go. I think there's a cave in here at least. That's just one of them as well. In fact, dead end cave. Because, oh yeah, that's why it's called dead end cave. Because I deliberately made it a dead end. Anyway, these are the docks, and that's not much else to report. So, anyway, you'll notice there's like free beacons throughout the city to make sure you can get around pretty fast, because again, it is freaking huge in comparison to some of my other projects. So, moving on, we'll go on to my first survival building area over there. And it took me a while to build this one. So, over there is Canal Town, which is actually the first survival build I've worked on here. So, if we go down the road, we'll sprint to speed things up. I actually did all the roads around here, mostly in creative. I have done some in survival. I prefer to do creative because it takes too much time to do in survival. Let me know what you think about the creative aspect of it, because I will do creative builds, I just won't do that many. The majority of them are all based on survival. Anyway, this is the first town I ever had to defend and build at the same time. Let me tell you, it's an interesting experience when you're trying to build a whole city. And in survival. Anyway, these are my farms. This is my specific personal property over here. And this is my personal steed. Anyway, that's meant to be like a town hall building. It's not a very good town hall. But right here is the city. This is basically the city stone hall. This is basically this. This is the stone tower of this particular town, and it's kind of a tradition to build stone towers for each respective city, except for the capital, because it wasn't a concept I introduced until then. But yeah, this is basically a multi-layered guard tower. It's basically built with the intention of making it easy to get around the floors. Anyway, this is the top of Stone Tower, and you can actually get a really good view of the landscape. And like I said, we're only really targeting the coastal regions and the mountain regions. That's our strong point, and we prefer to have strong local areas rather than, say, whole spread out countries in the countryside with no security or measure of defense. So, as you'll see, we kind of keep a similar style with every single city in terms of their walls. And over there is actually the newest settlement I'm working on. And we'll get to that one next. But let's kind of take a look. I actually literally survived off these pigs and sheep. And as you can see, it's not an ideal town. It's really just a bunch of shacks. Mainly because I've had to survive here. It's one thing to, you know, it's one thing to build in creative, it's another to build in survival, because you have to make it functional. But it's a quaint little town, and it has its charms, I suppose. I still have to make these all pretty, though. I tried to make these pretty boxes, you could basically say. But it has a fairly decent population, considering, and it actually has its own guard of its own, so I can leave them to be safe. The only problem I've ever had with this town is this area and that area, which I had to torch everything up. And if you're wondering if I'm going to do any more walking everywhere, I might, but I'm going to basically do a little bit of a explanation of what's going on. So, my most recent project has been the development of our seaports. And as you can see, we have a ship. Great, right? But the thing is, we don't need just any ship. We need many ships. And we also need docks. Lots and lots of docks. This is one of the docking bays for getting onto ships. And as you'll see, it's not the great ship. But we're going to have more ships all around this bay. And if you'll notice, this doesn't look very natural. This is called Canal Town for a very specific reason. This is the mode of transportation for the entire empire, basically. And the current objective is to actually build many coastal towns and establish a authority over the entire coastal region. And as you'll see, this is our latest bid to expand our coastal influence. And it's really a small settlement. It has like 3 major buildings with several. It's basic. It's a basic settlement. And as you'll see, settler and where's the other settler? There's 2 settlers at any given time. There they are. 2 settlers. I think there might be 3 though. I don't know. But yeah, it's all bare bones over here and for a couple of buildings in the area. And as you'll see, it's actually fairly decent buildings out here because, you know, I can actually afford to make nice buildings out here. Anyway, this entire general area is going to be a new settlement, but it's going to be a long work in progress. So basically, I'm going to expand in this general area I'm circling, but I won't go too far. I might actually this might be the largest city in the area, depending. I kind of want to take over this entire area, just expand along the entire coast. I might cut off this entire peninsula, frankly. And we might build a lighthouse over here, because that's going to be important. And as you'll notice, I took advantage of the bay over here. And I will be taking advantage of more bays as we go on. What we'll do after that is actually going to be based on what you guys want. Do you want us to cross the sea? Do you want me to build more ships? That's all really dependent on you, but just let me know what you think in the comments, because it really depends on your voice. You are the emperor, technically speaking, so I have to do what you ask me, within reason. Notice I said within reason. I want to do some multiplayer, but that's really dependent on if I can get that set up. So in the next video, we will actually be getting into expanding the entire base of operations here, but that is in the next video. I'll see you guys next time.